GLHFs are exchanged. Readies are exchanged. We're going into game one of our lower final here. It is time for Hamster, the deep periwinkle Zerg, who's already harvesting some Vespine, to go up against Art of Turtle, the green Zerg in the bottom right, who is 6-pooling. 6-pool versus Hydrith again. Will Hamster do the same hold that he did versus Thunderslaps? There it is. The pool already coming down. We don't waste any time here in Cosmonarchy. It's kind of wild. Let me think about this. So we had 4 Zergs in this tournament. I don't know how George played, but Thunderslap 6-pooled Hamster. Hamster followed up with his own 6-pool against Ayud 64. And that game turned into a win for him on Battle Spectre. Then the reverse sweep kicked in. And now Art of Turtle has 6-pooled twice. Once versus Kutyam, and now once versus Hamster. So 3 out of 4 Zergs have 6-pooled. I just want to point that out. And we will have that Hydrith opener for our favorite for the series, our Hamster. Will AOT have the balls to... Say the 6-pool works, right? Will he have the balls to 6-pool a second time? It's a possibility. There's the Kagrant. Try to pull your boys off the mineral line. You're really taxed for resources when you play this build. So... feels pretty good. 3 pairs of Zeths coming. Doesn't look like he did the larva trick, by the way, so there's room for even more efficiency with this build from AOT. He's actually going to finish the Circuit. Okay. Well, this is kind of awkward now. I mean, yeah, I think Hamster's kind of miscalculated. The Circuit alone is going to win this. He actually targets the other Kagrin immediately. That's pretty legit, honestly. But he could be targeting down the Hydras. Okay, maybe I was a little bold for saying the Circuit alone is going to win this, but... Oh, just in time. Hold on. Dives onto the Hydra in the middle. He can go straight for the one in the back. It's only got 12 HP. Dies immediately. The last of the Hydras is dead. AOT's done it for sure now, buddy. Ain't got nothing left. Popping the eggs on the hatch. Oh, Hamster, no. GG. I love it. I love it. I don't love that Hamster just went ahead and let the Circuit finish, but I love that AOT punished him for it. I can't believe it, dude. I can't believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for game 2. Record time, I know. Here we are in the bottom left of Blackwater Bastion. This is AOT's map pick. Hamster, the deep periwinkle Zerg, going up against AOT, the green Zerg. And I want to point out, this is actually the same map that AOT almost beat Hamster on in Acropolis 3 Battlements. He went on to defeat Arbiz's Protoss in the sort of fight for second place after Hamster 4-0'd the group. But Hamster did almost drop a map, and it was, AOT bottom left, Hamster bottom right. Really cool games back and forth there. Really cool, fights, I should say, back and forth in that match. Love to see it. I spent all this time, by the way, guys. I was really gunning for a bunch of Viscosi changes and adding some extra units and stuff. And I'm not entirely sure, but I think all of the matches that the Viscosi featured in today, because Dogluz couldn't make it, Hit 'em Up didn't show up to play random, so there's no chance for him to roll it. And Alexander played 3 games. I think at least 2 of them were over before any tier 2 could have even happened. Maybe the one versus Kutyam. He might have been able to defeat get up to tier 2 and then before his defeat. But I just wanted to throw all that out there because I think it's interesting. The first debut was maybe a little bit of a whimper, but that's all right. That happens sometimes. They're just a regular fixture now. They're part of the scenery. All right, so pool aggressively from Hamster. AOT a little bit more conservative. He's going to have his Larvosk up for much more longer. Well, maybe not much longer, but he is going to go for more Drolls. No scout from either player either on this 4-spawn map. And then instead, Hamster's going to go for the Zeth scout. His first pair of Zeths is going to scout the close positions. And then the Quads are going to be ready to move out from there. Going to have a second Larvosk here at the extremis of his base, and yeah, we'll see what AOT wants to do as the follow-up. Looks like an Avaleth. I could see him going for a fast Avaleth to scout and see what's going on. It's interesting game theory. There's the Kagrant coming in for the same sort of extra Larvosk. Quaz on the ramp and the Zeth scouting around. AOT going to go in the wrong direction with his Ovaleth at first. A lot of Zeths just popped for AOT, though. So we're not going to see any aggressive... Like, Hamster's not going to be able to do anything about that. And his Zeth didn't dodge. He didn't, like, he wasn't really on it. So he didn't, you know, drag around here and try to get, like, information. So AOT fortuitously just kind of bops him immediately. And it looks like the Zeths are going to be moving in from the, you know, looking at the right direction here. The Ovaleth confirming nothing in top right. The Quaz on the ramp. It's only 6 of them, but he's got 5 more coming. I think he's fine. And I love that he's aggressively posturing with it as well, knowing that he's got reinforcements. Pops one Zeth immediately. And the Ovaleth is now moving in that direction, so it could end up scooping up some of the Zeths from AOT. It could also just as easily feint that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Shroud coming for Hamster. Four Zeth, 2 Vorv. If the follow-up is good, well... Hamster did just walk over. He didn't notice the Ovaleth, though. He didn't clock it, I don't think. If the Quaz decide to surge forward, that can be a great time for AOT to strike. But it looks like he wants to just put himself in a position now. Honestly, though... Okay, he is going to go for it. The Quads are pretty close by. I don't think much damage should be incurred here. And it is kind of committed to add the Vorvs to the drop, and it also shows what your tech level is at. Not a single Droleth killed. Good little cycle back there. He lost 2 Quaz for that. I mean, not at all really the return on investment that AOT was hoping for. Still has more Drolls. Going for the Calcure Lake on the 1 base. So we're going to have to see if the Lake can offset the cost of having, you know... AOT Calculusks raining on his mineral line parade, or look at, you know, obviously the fact that like Lake has worked pretty well versus ground would lead you to believe that they're good versus Lyrilisk, but there's already an Ovaleth for detection, so I'm not saying anything yet about who's going to win the upcoming fights or whatever, but I think that AOT still has pretty good tech options here. If Hamster just wants to play defensively and try to scale up the economic ladder. He scouts no expansion here. He should be in pretty good shape in that respect. But AOT can choose to go for an expand at any time. So I would say, you know, the longer the game goes on with no expand from AOT and this heavy committal into a more aggressive push, the more I like it for Hamster. But now that Hamster's moving out with the Lake is in tow, this makes me feel like, okay, we need to see a hold here. He's got a lot of Quaz ready to defend. So at least there's that. Only got 2 Lakes. Ovaleth on both sides. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and burrow, try to get some good damage done. Leapfrogging him forward is a good move. Calculusks announced their presence. Quaz just kind of reposting the initial Zeths. Pop goes the first Lake and he suicides the Ovaleth, and I don't think that was intentional. I think that was just sort of a mistake. A lot of splash damage there onto the Quaz, but there's just not enough to finish the job. And so AOT definitely has more potential here for more economic disruption of his opponent. He puts down his hatch. 7 worker lead so far for Hamster. He's adding a couple more static defense structures in the process. He knows he needs Spraiths to cover pretty much everything here. And he's also got some anti... Oh, that's actually going to be an anti-air. I think that makes sense. You just want the Spraith down, but it is getting focused. It's only Spraiths coming. He's actually trying his best to hold the ground with his own ground. I think that does make sense. Got a Lake is burrowed over here. I love it. Ends up losing that one extra as more Lake has come down to rip apart the Zeths. I don't think AOT expected every one of those Kagrans to turn into a Spraith. I don't know if he clicked on him to confirm. You can see the wireframe change. So double Spraith now in the natural, and the main base has a single one to deal with any calcs that try to go after workers or Larvosks. Consolidated defense situation here, and some Nathacors end up getting bopped off of the rally, so that's pretty good. Zorius is out. Yeah, I think Hamster, since he held that aggression, he's in a pretty good spot. Has a better army, has a better tech for sure coming with the Elgorg. A Hydra then is complete. Macro hatch. I wonder if we're going to see like Iziricors as like the pseudo splash, or if we're going to see AOT double down onto the den and upgrade it up. Yeah, this is a lower final match, just to remind everybody, since I see chat type in stuff. Winner of this moves on to face Ayud 64, who awaits in the grand final after 2-1ing Hamster in the upper final. Hamster looks good to mount a comeback in this game, but it's not over yet. AOT has a 5-worker deficit, got his expansion down way slower than Hamster did, but he is going to go for the ski back, so probably what we're going to see here is some kind of Teth-oriented opener or transition point. However, it is a lot more expensive than AOT may remember. Straight into Zozark here for Hamster is pretty ballsy. I guess he's probably going to be going for Zarkavra cores. It is a pretty expensive set of units to make, but he's got a huge mineral bank, so he can definitely afford it. Yeah, you can see the Gorgs coming. He's also got the Eskagant to get extra gas from his ridges. He effectively is on 4 geysers right now in terms of income, and he puts down his 3rd base. AOT sees it. I am liking this game for Hamster. I find it really hard to believe that AOT is going to be able to handle it. We just do not have enough, armor end mixed with Hydras. We don't have any Zobrielisks, which are pretty good against the Zark. I guess with enough Lyrilisks, you could do something, because they do that splash attack. But instead, we just have a horde of Bactyls being made, and I mean, I guess if there's not that many Zarks, we can still see Bactyls helping. Hydrobactyl can fight it in small quantities. But even 3 Zarks are going to be pretty difficult to deal with, especially since they'll regress. We're still at tier 1. Slightly off-center hatch, going to be put down at the 3rd base here on Blackwater. Biddy map's eating good today. Seeing a lot of them. Some good Crisis Vector near impact picks as well for Jujic, so good there. Punch Drunk also Jujic support. So the ground game is actually going to be kind of dangerous if the Lakes aren't with the fight. But AOT might be playing into his opponent's hands by trying to attack the 3rd base. That's where the Lakes have relocated to. We don't have any. Well, we have 1 over here in the natural. More Zarkavra cores on the way. This is going to be a pretty difficult thing for AOT to deal with. He's making some Teths. They can help out a little bit. They don't have their armor pen on their secondary attack, though. So that's definitely going to hurt versus the Zarks. 280 health and 3 armor. To be fair, the same Bone of Reflection here for Zark is also nerfed in the frontline aspect of it, but not really that much to worry about. Instead, it looks like AOT wants to play a little bit more on the defensive side. He sees his opponent kind of turtling up. What does AOT want to do next? Oh, Skiths! Okay. If he can get to a critical mass... Hamster calling him forward. If he can get to a critical mass of units, of Skiths, he can try to shred the Zarks before they can do much of anything. He needs the Zorius. He doesn't have any. He needs armor rend on them. He doesn't have any Naths. They would just get eviscerated anyway. And he's going to be reliant on the very limited power of the Skith. He's got some Teths over here that he needs to bring forward to his army. I mean, it's got 2 armor pen. Oh, that's his armor shred. Okay. All right, I see the vision. You get like 2 Viths and a whole bunch of Skiths, and you go where you can. So my Zerg clear out the natural. Making Lyrilisks. I like that too. You can see the Zerg are trying to heckle in. Oh, a bunch of Teths just walking in to shut down mining. Now, is this the time to strike, though? Vithrilisk is going to pop in the middle of the fight. It's just going to be overrun, surely. Oh, he actually ends up escaping. Pretty good little raid there. You can see they're not quite able to do much of anything into that front fight. So a little bit of army like relocation has been happening. A lot of vets are being made. You really want to keep some skits with the army. And Hamster has decided to escalate things to tier 2. I think with like Vith, Skith, and having the Bactyls, even some Calculusks here too, the splash damage is going to be pretty good. Keep an eye out on those cleavers there. Great spread from AOT as well. Jets are trying to reinforce the front. The Vits are debuffing those Zarks a lot, and we are seeing them slowly but surely be whittled down. No more Zarks, so no more anti-air splash, but the ground army is running roughshod over AOT. I think he lost too many Teths in the earlier fight, and now he's in a spot where he's got air dominance, but nothing on the ground. So losing this third base is going to certainly slow him down. 7 more Gorgs, where that came from, are coming online. He's got a lot of Zets being made, but just nothing left to deal with what's in front of him. Losing all of those Tetzoricors, and that was his front line. That was his meat. And sure, it gave him enough time to build up the anti-air, but it did not give him enough of a move, a push. And now the Spire is coming. We've got 2 skits about to pop and 8 more in the field being made. Zeth counterattack, attempting to get something done over here in the third base. It kind of gets something done. It reminds Hamster to start mining at his third. Skits come off the rally and immediately get popped, and AOT knows he's been outwitted and out-rotated. GG. So we go to game 3 after all. AOT is back. We're getting into our final game of ZVZ for this round of play for this weekend wage. And AOT is back to Japanese Violet in the top left. Hamster in the bottom right is the Midnight Green Zerg. And this looks like a Hydroth opener again, while AOT is going for a standard Larvosket when a pool Kagrin Larvosket, or a Kagrin pool Larvosket. Got it eventually, guys. Got it. We've been enjoying Weekend Wage. I encourage you guys to throw down some money at us, or just join our Discord server. Sign up for the next one in 2 weeks from now. Good idea, good times, good epic. Very cool stuff. Hydras from both players, interesting. Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting to see the development of even like the Zerg mirror. But I will admit, a part of me does wonder: are we going to get a lot of people playing mirrors that much? We added a 4th race, which makes mirrors just a little bit less likely when you have more people playing different races. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. You know, back in the day, I always used to say it would be great to have one of each race in a group in battlements. We can't do that anymore. We have 4 races in the game, which is so epic to see and so wonderful to be able to say. And sooner or later, you know, by the end of the year, planning to add that 5th race and have it in the same sort of demo state by Q4 2026 here for you guys. And sort of similar to how the Escozi were. A complete battery of Tier 1, a little bit more cleanly articulated, probably better in terms of visuals as well. Hopefully we can get some good models done for them. It's exciting to see that kind of thing. So that's all I wanted to point out and say. And now I'll dial back into analyzing this game. We do have 4 Hydras, that Larva trick done by Hamster. He's certainly a happy man with it. But it's been a Larvosk with Iziracors coming for AOT. So this one's a little bit tricky. Because we have, you know, Hydras. Plenty of Hydras. And we have the Iziracors coming as well. Interesting. So where do we go from the split here? Hamster is going to need to spread his Hydras a little bit. Should be a win for the Zerg with the ranged units, but when you have more than just that, you can kind of get away with cheeky little moves like, you know, doing the little meat shielding. Great pullback from AOT. Almost pops a Hydra from Hamster. And I feel like his rush has to be considered over now. He's going to go ahead and retreat and start drolling up behind it. And adding another Larvosk. So how long does AOT take to start drolling again? He just started one. Will it be enough? Hydra's standing vigil, but there's a lot more Zerg for AOT. A lot more. Oh. Okay. Trying to get a pretty fast expansion here. I don't know that Hamster will intuit this. AOT took very, very long to expand before, so there is that to consider as well. And there it is. Hacharosk on the way. Yeah, in Blackwater Bastion, it took a really long time for AOT to expand. I don't know if Hamster's going to be ready for the fast hatch. The Azira cores just kind of shove off. And look at this play from AOT. He pulls them back. They're out on the map. It's like when a vulture slips the net versus a dragoon in StarCraft 1. You have to really reconsider where your army's going to go. But Hamster decides to just pull back to the middle for now. He has an Azira core in that Ovaleth. Looks like he's waiting to get a couple more. Yep. It's going to be a triple Izzy drop. Okay. It's 6 Hydra versus 7. Obviously, we know which one wins, but... yeah, he's forced the Azira cores back, and now he's going to cycle away. Good spread damage there. Good bounce damage. Kind of bruising him. Hamster's kind of trying to bait AOT's army away from the natural. But if, this drop will take a little bit of time to really speed up and take shape. Droleths, in the meanwhile, can be made. And look at that. A very fast ski back after the hatch pops. We still don't have an expansion for Hamster. He's setting up for one now. So it looks to me like he will be putting that down. Yep. And he pops in here just in time to negate that. He's forcing action from AOT. Doesn't quite kill the Droleth, but gets pretty close. 2 shots would have done it. This is probably going to be a Khaz'trith here. But yeah, he's keeping him in tow. He's keeping him interested and has to cycle back. And, at some point, Hamster must think to himself, I've done it. And AOT must think to himself, why is he still attacking me? I clearly have more units than him. And then the drop comes in. Denying mining time is a pretty good win. Scouting the ski back, also pretty helpful. It looks like the Ovaleth is going to be kaput. Ooh, 4 HP, no way. And one of the Azira cores is just going to saunter backwards as the Hydras try to take down that Circuit in the front. It wasn't a Khaz'trith after all. Down it will go. More Hydras in the front to help out as well. Is that drop going to come back in? Not yet. An Azira core running all the way in, but not quite able to do much. Yeah, I think this is still a win for AOT on the military side of it. Can't quite overwhelm him. Didn't focus down any of the Azira cores. Remaking the Circuit, it didn't end up popping. And the Ovaleth will also return home. Same worker count, though. And Hamster starting to mine. He might have gotten himself into some kind of economic parity. I'd still favor AOT. He's got the tech development, for example. But with Hamster's control, he might still be able to do some good stuff. He comes in and scouts an empty mineral line in the main base. So right now, Hamster has a superior economy. Shroud on the way. How soon does AOT reset his mineral harvesting? He's going to need to waypoint further workers over here. I guess the idea is that he's got more larva production in this position, so it's easier for him to remax on this side. Makes sense. So long as his rallies are in order. Shroud halfway complete for Hamster means that we will be seeing some more advanced tech come. I don't know. I mean, right about now, I'm looking at the Hydra stack, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is a lot of Hydras. His opponent is in a pretty good dug-in position. A Larvos got the natural, not a Khaz'trith. Probably it'll be a while before we see that. A good defensive force multiplier there. And when you get Irileth tech at tier 2, it's a good offensive force multiplier. Hamster knows all about that. Hey, that's cute. Little Kagrant shuffle. AOT trying to get out on the map as he attempts to secure his low ground double gas base. That's what he wants to do next. Deciding not to bother with 12 o'clock right now. Bactylisks are starting to join the picture. I think this Hydra count is way too much for AOT to deal with, though. He does need to double back to his defensive position. His Bactyls are out on the map. Hold on. Is Hamster just going to go for the jugular here? I think the answer is yes. His Azira cores are tearing through what AOT has, and they can get loosed on the mineral line, and they will. They will get loosed on the mineral line. The Bactyls are absolutely shellacked. The third base has no guardians there, so he cannot bring it back. And that is Hamster just finding that little window of opportunity to stake AOT in the heart and move on to the grand final, rematching AUD 64.